Hi buddies, hope you're doing fine. In this series, we are going to see the criticism work titled Irony as a Principle of Structure, which was written by Cleanth Brooks. So, if you are ready, let's get started. So, first let's see the introduction of the author. Cleanth Brooks, who was born on October 16, 1906 in Murray, which was situated near Kentucky, and these two places are in United States. And if you want to analyze about Cleanth Brooks, he was an American literary critic and also a professor, and he is best known for his contributions to new criticism in the mid 20th century, and also he is involved in teaching of poetry in American higher education. If you want to talk about the best known works of Cleanth Brooks, the well-wrote and studies in the structure of poetry, which was written in the year 1947, and also the next best known works of Cleanth Brooks is Modern Poetry and the Tradition, which was published in the year 1939. And Cleanth Brooks, who died in the year 1994 and the month May 10 in New Haven, which was situated near Connecticut in United States. Now let's see the summary of this literary criticism work, Irony as a Principle of Structure. Cleanth Brooks' Irony as a Principle of Structure is an important critical theory, and in this criticism work, Cleanth Brooks, who used to talks about the usage of irony and its importance in literary texts, and also he used to talks about an importance of metaphor, which was used in poetry. In this essay, Cleanth Brooks, who talks about four major concepts. The first concept is the concept of metaphor, and the second one the concept of organic relationship, and the third one the concept of context, and the final one the concept of irony. Let's see the four major concepts in detailed manner. The first concept is the concept of metaphor. Here he talks about the definition of metaphor. So now let's talk about the definition of metaphor, that how the word metaphor is defined by Cleanth Brooks in this essay. So he says that rediscovery of modern poetic techniques. Likewise, he defined the definition of metaphor in this essay, and then by making use of metaphor in poetry, he used to say that which deals with universal things in the world, and also it helps a poet to give a more broader stuffs in general as well as in a universal manner. For defining this concept of metaphor, he used to give an example of an expression. So the example is a red rose. So we are all well known that rose is a type of flower which is a source of beauty as well as it is a source of fragrance. But here the author referring the rose, which is a particular flower, and also it's a name of a flower, and he says that it is a type of flower, but in a universal manner the statement a red rose which suggests the universal meaning and also the general meaning is love. So by making use of this reference, he has used the word rose metaphorically. Then he keep on says that the significant meaning of the word rose, also the symbol of rose is love. Then author quotes that the poem is not a collection of beautiful or poetic images without the use of metaphor. So here the author who conveys the importance of metaphor, also he means that metaphor is an essential component of a poetry, and also he points that it should be very much there in a good point. Also he talks about the beauty of the poem, and he compares with the flowering of the whole plant, that is stem, leaves, root, flower, etc., etc. And he highlight the wholeness, that is the word complete. With this he define the importance of the metaphor. Also he talks about the importance of every stuff, that is the elements of the poem, like metaphor, simile, alliterations, rhythm, rhyme scheme, image, symbol, themes, etc. Cleanth Brooks, who talks about a plant which looks beautiful when stem, leaves, roots and every stuffs are in a very good manner, then only it looks beautiful because of its completeness of the elements. So he points that every elements are essential one, and the necessary components are very essential to the poetry. Now let's talk about the next thing which is highlighted by Cleanth Brooks in this essay. Cleanth Brooks, who says that if the poet who wants to say something, if he wants to convey his idea, then he should not convey the thoughts in a direct manner, because it makes the poem in a imperfection manner. So while we are using the metaphors, we have to be careful with the metaphor or indirect comparison in the poem, because Cleanth Brooks, who also talks about the risk of using metaphor in a poem, but he says that if we are using a metaphor in a poem, it will beautify the poetry. Also, he talks about the point that the beauty of the poem is the flowering of the whole plant. So that's what he complete the concept of metaphor in this manner. And the second concept, the concept of organic relationship. So here also he talks about the whole plant like leaves, stem, root, flower and so on. And also he talks about the essential elements of poetry like symbols, images, irony, metaphors and also rhythm, rhyme scheme and so on. In the beginning of the concept of organic relationship, he keep on talks about the importance of organic relationship, that all the parts of the plant, which is very important and also an essential one. So this is the very essential component of a poem. So in this concept, he used the reference of whole plant. So we are all well known that a plant which consists of its various parts like stem, roots, leaves, flower and so on. So likewise every components like rhythm, rhyme scheme, images, symbol, theme. So these are the stuffs are very important for a good poem. And in this concept he quotes that all the demerits of the poem are independent to one another. And then he takes an example of tail of a kite. So the appearance of the kite, which is having a tail at its back, so it is considered as the lower part of the tail of a kite. Here the important thing is considering the lower part of a kite, which is a very essential and a very needed part of a kite, because the lower part of the kite's tail, which helps to function the kite, and also it controls the kite to rise in a correct direction. Also it's each and every movement, though it is a smaller part, it helps to form a big complete structure. So sometimes smaller things which contributes a big role to do a big stuff. So that is the concept used by Cleanth Brooks in this essay. Next concept, the third concept is the concept of context. Here the author who quotes the lines that context refers to the relationship of words with each other and also with the main theme. So when we use the same words or phrases in different contexts, which produces a different meaning. So that is the main thing of this concept. Then he compares a poem with drama. The familiar thing about drama is an utterance of dialogue. So we are all well known about the meaning of this, and the author who keep on says that the drama which gets its meaning according to the context, and also it depends upon the context situation. Then the author who highlights that a great poem means it should have a great poetic qualities like symbols, themes, rhythm, rhyme, style. So these are the things here author who used to narrate the quality of the poem. Likewise author quotes in this essay, and he says that the context which produces a new meaning in every time. So like that he keep on says that, and also he use a reference from Shakespeare's two plays. The first one is King Lear and then Hamlet. In King Lear, he quotes the line that rightness in all. So through this line, we can get a negative connotation which is used by Shakespeare in King Lear. And the second one is from Hamlet. So the character Hamlet who speaks the dialogue to be or not to be. So this arises a complexity of expression, and also it made a confusion to the readers. And then the author who talks about a same word using in different context which produces a different meaning. Likewise, author who conclude the stuffs in this concept, and the final concept of this essay, the concept of irony. Here the author who talks about the importance of irony, and he frames the meaning of irony, that irony as the obvious wrapping of the statement by the context. And he defined the meaning of irony, which means the use of words in context which may be a sarcastic or opposite meaning, but the usage of irony in context which having a different types. So now the author who talks about the different types of irony. The first type is tragic irony, and the second one is verbal self irony, and the final one is gentle irony. So that's what the author who talks about the importance of an irony, and also the different types of irony in this concept. And finally Brooks who applies the use of these four concepts on the poems. The first poem used by Cleanth Brooks is My Lost Duchess, and the final one is The Chimney Sweeper. And finally author who conclude the essay with talks about the importance of irony, and he used to say that irony is one of the major principle structure in poetry, and also it has equal importance like metaphor and also other elements of poetry. So that's what author who conclude the essay with great references and also the four concepts. So hope this video will be useful one, and thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you are having any suggestion, let me know in the comment section. We'll see you next video. Tata, bye bye.